All right. That was a good time. That was a good time. Whew. What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. I'm Anthony K. Thomas from Wrestling with Rumors, and this is the result show for Clash in Italy. Let me start out by saying this was a great weekend for WWE from Saturday night with AAA. That mask versus mask match was incredible. It's the stuff that made us fall. It's the kind of match that made us fall in love with wrestling when we fell in love with wrestling all those years ago. It was a great match. I will say that AEW Double or Nothing, they had their weekend came and went, and Sunday for AEW, last Sunday for AEW was incredible, but this weekend, this Saturday and this Sunday was a weekend for WWE from AAA to Clash in Italy, and it was fantastic. It was a great weekend. Clash in Italy was a great show. All matches were rematches, but nonetheless, battles were continuing, wars were continuing. We saw championships retain. We saw a new champion get crowned. We saw a little bit of everything, and it continues on tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. Special start time for us here in the States. If you are in the East Coast, it's 2 p.m. For us here in the West Coast, California, it's 11 a.m. And I'm looking forward to it. But before we get to Monday Night Raw and everything else that's going to happen this coming week between NXT and on, let's dig into Clash in Italy, and the brackets for the King and Queen of the Ring was released. So we're gonna touch on those for a little bit as well. So let's get into all of it. All right, let's have a good time. Let's let's get into it. So starting out, the first match for this PLE was Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the WWE Championship. This was their rematch. This was a rematch for them, as their first encounter was in 2024 at Crown Jewel, where Cody Rhodes got that win. We go into this match. Cody Rhodes and Gunther absolutely go into this match and battle it out for that WWE Championship. I love this match. This battle quickly turned into a war. And this match was a good match, and it ends in controversy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. As the ref was counting the 3, Gunther had his foot under the rope, but the ref didn't see it. So a win is a win regardless. But as Cody Rhodes said during the post show, even though a win is a win, you don't want to get a win like that. At least Cody Rhodes doesn't want to. But so Gunther's anger and protest and how that match ended the way it did is understood and is deserved. He has every right to feel that way. I understand it. However, I do see a situation in which we could possibly get Cody Rhodes versus Gunther round 3 at Night of Champions. We will see. But I see a scenario in which that happens. We get that third round between Gunther and Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions. Match number 2. It was Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. This was a rematch from WrestleMania 42, and this match did not disappoint. This match I really felt like this match shined a brighter light on Jade Cargill and how much better she has gotten in WWE, in the ring, and really finding her footing. She shined very bright tonight. She took it to Rhea Ripley. She took the limit to Rhea Ripley. And even with B-Fab and Michin showing up in this match, which I had a feeling they were going to, you had Charlotte Flair evening things out. Because sometimes Charlotte Flair in a situation like that is enough. Charlotte Flair is enough, is all you need when in this type of situation. And she handled B-Fab and Michin, no problem. Kept things even. And Rhea Ripley retains her championship. Now, after the match, as Rhea Ripley is getting her arms raised and raising her women's championship, you notice Charlotte Flair keeping her eye on Jade Cargill because Charlotte Flair has a receipt to give to Jade Cargill after what Jade Cargill did to her best friend, Alexa Bliss. So absolutely, I see there's going to come a point where Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair are going to be in the same ring at the same time, having a one-on-one match. We have been slowly getting breadcrumbs and teases of this type of match happening over the last year. So I feel like it's only a matter of time, and I feel like it's going to happen at some point this year, whether it's at SummerSlam or at a Saturday night's main event or at a PLE or in the remaining PLEs for this year. Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill absolutely is going to happen. Charlotte Flair, but Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill, yes, this was a good match. Up next, Obafemi, Brock Lesnar, the rematch from WrestleMania 42, the Ruler versus the Beast. And what was originally just a battle to see who was the best. Who of Obafemi answering a challenge from Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania. That challenge was answered. We had our match at WrestleMania 42, and it was who was the best of these two. And they battled it out. And that night, it was Obafemi. And in the moment where Brock Lesnar said, I'm done, had a moment to think about it, had some time to process it. And when he came back knowing that he wasn't okay with how that was his ending. He does not want that to be his ending. So he came back and he brought it back to Obafemi. And that brought us here to Clash in Italy. Obafemi, Brock Lesnar, Part 2. And in this match, which started out as a battle, became a war of titans. The Ruler and the Beast, or the Conqueror. And they went to war, man. Dare to say that this match was probably better than their first encounter at WrestleMania 42. But man, did they go to war. This was a match that was filled with holy shit moments from both Brock and Oba. Every time Brock Lesnar threw an F5 at Obafemi and tried to get the pin, it was a kick out and a kick out and a kick out. At one point, Brock Lesnar had the Kimura lock on Obafemi, and Obafemi was able to stand up and hold up Brock Lesnar, and the look of shock on Brock Lesnar's face speaks louder than what any commentator or any of us could ever think or just say. It was a hell of a moment. But at the end of this match, Brock Lesnar gets that 7th F5 on Obafemi and gets the win. Now, this wasn't a conquering type of win because in this match, Brock Lesnar had to learn the same lesson again. And that is Obafemi is a different kind of opponent. Obafemi is not like any opponent Brock Lesnar has ever faced. And I feel like Brock Lesnar learned that for the second time in this match at Clash in Italy. However, the end of this match tied 1 apiece. Now, I want to add to this. Brock Lesnar didn't win this match by a long shot or by conquering Obafemi in any kind of way. Brock Lesnar survived this match. This was pure survival for Brock Lesnar. But again, winning is winning, right? So, we are 1 apiece, tied up, and now we are all locked in. Now, is that official? It's not official, but we are all locked in to SummerSlam. This is where I feel like it is going to end. Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, Part 3 in Brock Lesnar's hometown of Minnesota. This is where we have the final encounter of this Battle of Titans. This no bread, no water, just meat. These two Titans, the Conqueror and the Ruler. One more time, SummerSlam. This is where it ends. And this is where we officially say goodbye to Brock Lesnar. Absolutely, that's how I see it going. But we will see in the coming months. And up next was Sol Ruca versus Becky Lynch, Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now, in this match, this was a rematch from Saturday night's main event. This was Sol Ruca's first PLE and her first attempt at a main roster championship. And Sol Ruca took the battle to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch feeling a little distracted with Jessica Carr, which I'm going to add a side note to this, that at some point Jessica Carr versus Becky Lynch, I hope we see it. We need to see it so they can just squash it once and for all. Sol Ruca, in her first PLE, in her first attempt at a main roster championship, comes out the victor in this match, wins this match, wins her first main roster championship and becoming the new Women's Intercontinental Championship. Great match, good match for these two, and I feel a rematch is coming at some point, whether it's at Night of Champions or SummerSlam or at some point down the road. But for now, this is Sol Ruca's moment, and she's basking in it. Good for her. Main event: Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns, Tribal Combat for the World Championship. Tribal Combat is a different beast of a match, and then when you add family to that, it's personal on a level that I don't think any of us can really fully understand when it's surrounding this family and the history and the lineage of this Samoan family. So absolutely personal on a level we'll never fully understand. This was a match where this was Jacob Fatu's final attempt, at least for now. When he was going all in on this match. He was looking to gain everything he could. And on Roman Reigns' side of things, Roman Reigns had everything to lose in this match. But they went to war. And Tribal Combat, this match was everything you'd want it to be. Starting the ring, outside the ring, through the crowd, weapons, everything. And at the end of this match, with no help from anyone, no interference of any kind, no shenanigans, none of it, Roman Reigns wins this match. Jacob Fatu must now keep his side of this bargain when he signed that contract, and he must fall in line with Roman Reigns. He must acknowledge Roman Reigns. And the body language from Jacob Fatu after the match says it, that this is all he's got. If he wants, it's either getting fired, it's either if you don't acknowledge the tribal chief, if you don't fall in line, you're fired. And then what are you going to do for your family? So this is it. And there was the moment where after the match was over, Solo with his family is watching. And Roman Reigns is looking at Solo and Solo's family, telling the Usos that they're next. So I don't even want to. So what comes next in that? There's a battle. There is a battle I'm looking forward to seeing. But also the look that Solo gave Jacob Fatu says it all. Says a lot right there. And the look that Jacob Fatu gives back to Solo says a lot right there. And now we turn to Monday Night Raw. And what happens on Monday Night Raw is that Jacob Fatu must acknowledge the tribal chief. And I'm looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. And plus so much more, as it was also announced during the post show, the brackets for the King and Queen of the Ring. And the king and queen of the ring start tomorrow night on Raw, or afternoon or morning, depending on what side of the coast of the world you're on. But let's run it through. All of the first matches that are getting started, they're all Fatal 4-Way matches. So I'm just gonna run them through real quick, starting with the King of the Ring. So King of the Ring bracket. The first Fatal 4-Way match is Penta versus Obafemi versus Solo Sikoa versus Carmelo Hayes. The second Fatal 4-Way match is Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker versus Trick Williams versus Damian Priest. The third Fatal 4-Way match will be Seth Rollins, Evans, Javon Evans, Tala Tonga, and Ricky Saints. The fourth one will be Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. Those are our first 4 Fatal 4-Way matches on the men's side for the King of the Ring. Now for the Queen of the Ring, for this bracket, it's Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. The second Fatal 4-Way will be Sol Ruca versus Lyra Valkyria versus Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill. The third Fatal 4-Way will be Roxanne Perez versus Io Sky versus Julia versus Lash Legend. And the fourth Fatal 4-Way will be Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez versus JC Jane versus Kiana James. Now, just reading the bracket really quick, I can see a scenario in which I see a scenario in which it's for the men, I see a scenario in which it's Seth Rollins that wins the King of the Ring tournament and goes on to face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. I absolutely can see a scenario that goes like that. For the women, I see there are 2 scenarios that I see in this. I see a scenario in which it could be Roxanne Perez going on to face it is Roxanne Perez that goes on to face that wins the tournament and goes on to face Liv Morgan for that world championship. And that can be based on how Roxanne Perez had to feel like she had to prove herself to be a part of that family to Liv Morgan. And there were a few times where it felt like she was going to turn. This feels like this could lead into that, where Roxanne Perez says, I don't need this. I don't need to prove myself to you or anyone else. And wins the tournament in the course of all that happening and goes on to face Liv Morgan for the world title at SummerSlam. And I can see the same scenario for Roxanne Perez, of Roxanne Perez not wanting to be in that shadow anymore of Liv Morgan, wanting to break out on her own, and winning the tournament and facing Liv Morgan for the women's world title. And I also see something where Jade Cargill tries to find her way back into winning the tournament and then going on to face Rhea Ripley for a third time at SummerSlam. I see that. I could see a scenario for Charlotte Flair as well. There are quite a few scenarios in which I definitely see it for, but that one for Roxanne Perez and for Raquel Rodriguez, one of them winning it, absolutely. And then the same thing for the King of the Ring as well with Seth Rollins. But that is the King of the Ring bracket. That is the Queen of the Ring bracket. This has been Clash in Italy results show. I'm Anthony K. Thomas from Wrestling with Rumors. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up when everything new on this Wrestling with Rumors channel drops. Go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know what you feel about the bracket and about Clash in Italy as well. New episode of Wrestling with Rumors is out, so go ahead and check that out. And I appreciate all of you for watching. If you haven't watched my prediction show for Clash in Italy, I know we already saw the match, but if you haven't watched it yet, if you go back and watch, you will see that I was right about every single match that went down tonight. So I don't usually like to brag about. I don't usually like to brag, but I feel like that's a brag and a little bit of a flex. I want to throw out there. Anyway, hope all you have a good, fun, and safe Sunday. Hope you have a good, fun, safe rest of start of this week as we enter into a new month of June, which now puts us at a halfway through this year. Holy cow! And now all signs are towards Night of Champions, and looks like we are going forth with this match being in Saudi Arabia. And even with the war right now, and I'm not okay with it, but it is what it is because it doesn't matter what I think. WWE's not going to listen to me about how I feel like this is an unsafe thing to do. We're gonna move forward with it, and Night of Champions is gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to it. The finals of the King and Queen of the Ring will happen there. So let's get to it. We got Raw tomorrow. Everything else, y'all know what it is. I'm Anthony K. Thomas from Wrestling with Rumors. Once more, signing off. Take care of yourselves. See you all in that next one. Peace, y'all.